Hey, what's up, guys? King J coming to you live from hell once again. And today I want to talk about the id versus the ego. And we could approach it from many layers, but I want to talk about it from a personal perspective. One of my mentors referred to the id and the ego like the little devil and the little angel on your shoulder, and it's this moral balance between doing what you want and doing what you think is right, uh, succumbing to temptation or staying resilient. And something that I realized recently, as I'm feeling that I'm like regressing or going backwards in my transformation towards becoming the best version of myself, I have felt that I started to go backwards in a lot of thinking, and then it would get me really upset, and I'd feel like, oh man, I'm not focused, I'm not dedicated, I'm not. And then it goes back to that. It's not about dedication. It's about understanding that motivation can leave, but you can't go back to sleep once you've already woken up to seeing things in a certain way. If I start looking at my reality as something that controls me, then I'm going to be in a constant state of feeling like a puppet to destiny, a puppet to fate, a puppet to something outside of me. It's just, fate used to be something that made me feel happy and comfortable. And in a way, it still does. But this idea that the power's in my hands, that was always way scarier. And now I'm starting to remember that. And when I remember that, it helps me just settle back into the mind frame that I'm in control. Life is not happening to me, it's happening through me. And the funny thing is that there's not really undesirable circumstances coming into my life. The regression is coming from my thoughts, and that's where I have to remember to stabilize and think back on where I was, and realize that where I was is not me. Who I was a few weeks ago is not me. Who I am right now is the only thing that exists. So, and the less that I start looking at my unhealthy thoughts as nothing but habits, those are old habits coming back. And habits have the freedom to leave. Yeah, is it going to take time and patience? Yeah. It's going to take time to constantly keep myself in check in a way, but it's also going to take patience with myself so that I'm not upset at what I think is less growth. Because when I think about it, and I look in the mirror, and I can enjoy myself, it feels really good to see this change when I really think about it. But then when I'm just going about my day and I'm not aware of it, I'm feeling like the way that I used to feel about myself. I'm thinking unconfident thoughts. I start to think people are going to, think less of me for certain things. And then I have to realize, and I have to remember, I'm the one that's in control. And I can't live my life like that. It doesn't work for me. It's shown time and time again. And then once I remember that, it's like, boom, I'm snapped back in. And it's this weird thing. It's like these things keep calling me back. But the funny thing is that when I remember that it's just a habit that can be broken, like smoking a cigarette, it's tough to stop smoking cigarettes. It's tough to stop thinking a way that you've been used to thinking for so many years. But just like anything is possible. Just like cutting out any sort of physical habit. That's something that you could feel, you could see. But a mental habit, a thought process, it's very elusive. Because our brain, it works in a certain way that is built to try and protect us. It's built in a certain way to avoid things that we are scared of, right? But when we start to really piece together, what are the things are we afraid of? And we start to realize it's like shining a flashlight into the closet when you're a little kid. You realize there's no monsters in there. The monsters are in our mind. Under the bed, there's nothing but dust and shoes. So the more that I have to live that way, the more that I realize, hey, I have the flashlight in my hand. And I could peek in there, and I don't have to be afraid of what's in there. And I don't have to worry so much. I could enjoy my life. I start thinking about my goals and my ambitions. And I try to remember that if I stopped any of this, it shouldn't make me disappointed in myself. This stuff needs to be fun. This stuff needs to be exciting through this process. The whole point of these videos, it's just a personal growth journey, diary type of thing. Like, that's literally the point of it. And if I could inspire anyone, I mean, that's really cool. That's cool if anyone actually listens to this, you know? But that's not what it's about. I have to keep that in mind every day, because some days I'm wondering, what is the point? There is no point, you know? And I got the little devil and the little angel on my shoulder telling me what the right thing to do is, telling me what I really want out of life. And I think sometimes you just have to trust yourself and give in to some things. And when you do, don't feel like it's a mistake, because we make decisions, and there's no loss that could permanently take us out of the game, because the game is life. That's what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about how I approach every day, how we look at the rest of our lives. If I'm looking at everything in a way that everything needs to happen right now, you know, it's going to be overwhelming. If I look at life like there's time, nothing but time, then I could sort of ease my way in and build and build and build slow. I need to take it slow. You know, that sense of urgency, it's important, but if that sense of urgency is driving me to not get anything done, then it's not working for me. I think what I need is the trust that time is irrelevant to my growth. It's going to take time, but that doesn't mean, it's going to take time, so let me not care about it. It means, you know what? It's going to take time, and I have nothing but time. Thank you. Thank God that I have nothing but time. And when I remember that, it gets a little more exciting. I actually look forward to the long haul. I realize in terms of exercise and just in a lot of ways, I like endurance. I like tedious tasks a lot of times. I would like to say that I don't. And it'd be my natural instinct to say I don't like things that take a lot of time. I want to get things done, and I want to get it out of the way, and I want to not think about it anymore. But the truth is all this stuff, there's a lot of stuff that just weighs heavy on my mind, and I constantly think about getting it done. And it's constantly there, and there's always something new. There's always something new. When I finish one task, a task that I thought was, you know, the most important thing to get done, for example, putting out my album, I just put it out. And I'm debating whether or not I should go into depth about that album and what it means to me. I think I'll give that some time. I'll sit on it, and then I'll do a retrospective. But the importance of that album is the id versus the ego, this whole thing that I'm talking about. And at the center of it is me, the true me that is feeling all these ways. There's no black, there's no white, there's no right, there's no wrong. There's everything. And I've been so weighed down by the fact that decisions have to be made, and the fact that, you know, I'm the one in the steering wheel and I don't know where to drive. I think I just need to enjoy the ride, you know, just cruise and enjoy the ride. And when I go back to certain ways of thinking, I have to just remember that it's a habit. A habit can be broken. And when I go back to certain ways of thinking, I have to remember that it's just a thought. A thought can be let go. A feeling could be felt. And after the feeling leaves, because it eventually will, It always does. Then it could be replaced with a better one. You know, there's no living life in a permanent state of happiness. I think true bliss comes from knowing that everything is like an ebb and flow. It's a ripple effect. It comes, it goes. Enjoy it when it's here. Don't miss it when it's gone, because new will come. Embracing the change, embracing the new, something I never wanted to do. And I think about my memories. I think about amazing times. They feel like they were the greatest times in the world. But the funny thing is, in those times, it didn't feel like the greatest times in the world. It felt like kind of a shitty time. And I was kind of reminiscing then too. So it's a constant state of reminiscing about times that are gone, not allowing me to enjoy the time that I'm living in right now. The timeline that we're in right now is the best timeline because it's the only one. We better enjoy the show, because if not, it's going to pass us by. And like memories don't exist. Memories only exist in our mind. They're not tangible. The future is not tangible. You could look forward to it, you could dread it. Doesn't matter. Because no matter what, none of that is here and now. The moment, that's all that exists. Here and the now. That's where I want to be. So when I think about the id, and I think about the ego, and I think about that inner struggle, I have to remember that stability comes from being in the moment and enjoying the moment. You live in the past, you're going to be depressed. You live in the future, you're going to have anxiety. Depression is a state of deep rest that your body is craving. You need to take a break from living in the past. You need to take a break from who you think you need to be. And that anxiety, the fear that you're not going to be enough, the fear that things aren't going to go the way you want them to go. When you realize there is no future, there is only right now. And you could live as you wish to be right now. And you shouldn't want to be anybody but you, because you can't be anybody but you. Nobody could be you. You can't be anybody else, but nobody could be you. Nobody can be me. Now, you could live your life not wanting to be yourself, or feeling that there's something wrong with you. You do that, it's going to be detrimental to the life that you could be living. And it's never too late to wake up and say, hey, I need to love myself. It's as simple as that. And this stuff is not that deep. It really isn't, because I used to feel like these types of thoughts were always circling in my head, and it was a curse, because I just wanted to be a simple human and enjoy my life. And it felt like I could never do that. But now that I can just rest, take a break, and still do everything I want to do, it's not really taking a break. It's grinding with ease. And it's like Mike Tyson said, a true greatness is doing something that's really hard with ease. That's all it is. So, and that's a mental thing. Yeah, it's hard. And we're going to do it until it's not hard. And we're going to keep doing it. And we have to have fun with it. So live in the moment. Don't worry. Thank you for watching. King J out.